Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Comedy Pinata, live from New York City, where, you know, of course, co-host Mike,
Hello.
Big Man Mike.
We're here.
At Big Man Mike.
At Big Man Mike.
Mike Albanese.
I
and
changed
then
my name.
Our very special guest who just filmed a new hour special that's going to be premiering. He'll tell you about it in a sec. Mike Vecchione, right here out of New York. Congratulations,
Thank you guys
Mike.
for having me.
How you doing, buddy?
Good, buddy. How are you?
Nashville, Tennessee. You
Yes.
filmed it at Zanies.
Yeah.
And this is your first hour, correct?
This is my first hour. Yep.
How's that feel? Because you've been a grinder in the city for a long time.
Yeah, I did two albums, but never a video hour.
How was it?
It was great. It felt really good.
Yeah.
They did a good job. 800 Pound did a really good. 800 Pound Gorilla was the production company.
Sure.
They did an excellent job, and have been working with me through the whole thing. So I'm hoping for the best with it. You know.
And comedian Nate Bargatze has directed it.
He directed it and produced it. He put a lot of the money up, to be honest. So,
Wow.
So
Okay.
a lot of pressure on me not to
Is he
disappoint my friend.
Does he own? Is he like one of the founders of 800 Pound Gorilla?
No, those guys came
Really?
out of God, they relocated to Nashville.
Does he have anything to do with it though, or is he? Because he
No.
just did 800 Pound. Just did Joe Z's album in Asheville. I was
Yes.
there with him for that.
Yes.
Like the week leading up, and Bargatze was there directing that one as well.
Right.
Yeah.
800 Pound is the production company for all of these that he did. Greg Warren also. Who's a friend.
Oh, so he
That's
just
Greg.
took some. Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's a guy right there.
So he's doing.
Yeah, he's, I think, taken upon himself to say, I'll put my money where my mouth is and
Yeah.
invest in his friends and give them the opportunity that he had, which is...
Someone told me he owned it, and I was like, I don't know,
no.
man. That just seems like such a.
No, there's two guys
A
that own
left-hand
it,
turn.
Yeah.
and then Dan Dion out of San Francisco, that incredibly talented photographer at JFL for many years. He's taken pictures of everybody, basically. He's one of the partners over there, and quite a few, talented people over there.
Yeah.
So, they do a bunch of great content, obviously, and congratulations. So, was there a particular theme to this, or?
No, it was great. It was a great shoot. I just had I'm a little nervous because I had a bunch of COVID stuff still interspersed in there, but it's not. I mean, we're not going to forget COVID. We were locked for 2 years, so
it's still in the news.
It's kind of evergreen, kind of a thing. So
Yeah.
it's not like I don't want people to listen to this and go, "Oh, it's just that." It's very good, and it's still relevant because I can still do the jokes, and they still.
Yeah, I
work
think
on
unless
stage.
people are wearing masks.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
sitting 6 feet apart, then the thing looks dated.
Right.
But you're gonna be fine.
The 1910, some comic it's like, what about the plague? Everyone's like, boo, move on.
Remember AIDS in the 80s, guys?
What about the world wars coming up? Do more,
I
be
just think
relevant.
I think it's funny now that people wearing masks are the most cautious people, or somebody about to knock off a bank. So it's like I'm afraid of germs so bad that I'm covered at all times, or suicide by cop. So
I always wondered why there weren't more bank robberies during, and like more. I mean, there's a lot of robberies with like
Right.
the riots and stuff, but I felt like every bank should have been robbed during COVID because
Oh, for sure.
walking
yeah.
into a bank with a
Right.
mask was just it was,
Well, you don't
it was right
need
there.
to because everything's smash and grab anyways. You can just literally walk into Rite Aid or Walgreens, take whatever the fuck you want, so it doesn't matter. I would assume that if it's your first hour,
yeah,
you've done 2 albums, I get it, but you didn't do it on video, that you're sitting there on just heaters. And you're like, I got all this material. It's never been on video. I never taped it before live. Like, so I mean, obviously you're always generating new material, but
Right.
you also have just a plethora of incredible material.
yeah. But I didn't look at it like that. I looked at it like, oh, I have these 3. I'm not going to use anything from the 2
You don't want
albums
to do it.
in
Wow.
order to do
Okay.
it. So I try to do as much new material as possible. So it's a new hour.
Have you ever thought about
great.
recording the old stuff, like taping it just for yourself to like clip it up and stuff like that?
Yeah, but I don't have the. I should have the patience to go back and sift through it.
I guess it would be
But I
tough to
really
have to go
don't.
all the way back
Yeah,
in that
yeah.
mindset
Then you have to
for
relearn it.
years.
Right,
Yeah, yeah.
relearn it. And we always want to write new material, especially here in New York. There's so many spots. It's like
Sure.
you're trying to work out new material. There's nothing like that rush of like having something new work.
Of course.
I mean, that's the best feeling ever. And then you start developing chunks, and now it's like I don't even know what the right model is. Do you just put the chunks out? Like, I don't think that that's a bad thing. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're more well known, like you, like it might
you.
not
I won't
be
go that
the,
far,
it,
but-
it might not be the
I
best
don't have a good
thing
chin.
to do.
Yeah.
No chin, great career. Yeah.
If you're more of a well-known
I know a few
guy, it might
chins.
not. You have fans and stuff. Like you might not. It might not be the most beneficial for you. But for somebody like me, I'm still unknown, so I can keep putting it out. And then when I do it out, I just put them together.
Yeah, it's funny. I
I
was
don't know what
talking
the
to
model is,
a really really popular. I don't want to say his name. Just because you never know if they're like, oh, I don't want to. But anyways, we're talking about our special. She's like, I don't know if I'll ever film one again. To your point, he's like, I might just, put it out and chunk it up,
Right.
and put it on the socials. And I think that even the one I just put out on Prime, I've got more traction from the clips than I ever did from anything else. I mean, the clips themselves have gotten like millions of views. They just kind of catch fire. And clips even, they're like Plinko chips. It's like, did I put it at the right time? Did it go at the right date? Did it go with the right thing? And then bink, sometimes you hit that 25,000.
Yeah.
But every now and then, for the most part, you're kind of on the outer rim.
We're going to start seeing, like, in the next year, I was supposed to record something right before COVID. But in the next year or so, you're going to start seeing people 2 camera shooting each camera, one with a horizontal, and then they're going to have vertical cameras, because you get full frame vertical, which is because it's now it's all meant for the phone.
Yeah.
That's so smart.
And no one's done it yet, which I just blew my lead.
And maybe the hour is outdated too.
What's that?
Maybe if the hour is outdated too. Maybe the thing is 15-minute chunks or a half hour. Put out half hours.
Sure.
Put out 15 minutes, because that's pretty much people's attention span now. And I am insulting your fans. I'm sorry.
Well, they showed up 10 minutes
And
ago.
that was a shot.
But we've all heard, like, through the executives, it's kind of permeated in the comedy community that the retention rate for like 60 minutes is non-existent. Even 40s, like the percentage of that is so small. 15 to 20 is like the wheelhouse, and then they come back to it.
Right.
And that seems to be what I've heard from executives. I don't know, it's crazy, but the good news is you got your hour. Do you want to tell everybody it's March 24th? Is that correct?
March 24th. It's called The Attractives. It'll be on YouTube. Mike Vecchione on YouTube. It's on Nate Bargatze's page, and I think 800 Pound Gorilla's page. So.
And the good news is that's an easy last name to spell. Bargatze. So
Bargatze.
T-Z-E. That's right.
Vecchione is even easier. It's like 12 Ks. How do you spell that?
Zach Galifianakis, when he came out, I was like, people were like, well, people were fucking up his name all the time. But one of the cool things I remember about when you were taping it is you were doing it during the Nashville Comedy Festival, and all the comics were there. So at your taping, you had like your class of all the New York comics coming and supporting. And I remember Jay and Soder, Big J and Dan Soder, were looking to get you a piece of jewelry or something that day. Yeah.
They got
cool.
it for me, and but they gave it to me on my birthday instead of the tape, because they didn't have time or something at the taping. But they got me a gold Italian horn, so I take it in my bathroom.
Not on the rearview window.
Not on the rear, but it comes with. I feel like I should wear a lot of cologne when I wear it. It's great.
Congratulations. And so once it's out, the next question every comic is, obviously you have like that breathing room.
Yeah.
And then are you one of those comics that like, okay, got to get to the grind, got to write the next one, or whatever the next one is?
Right.
Or are you kind of like, I'm going to take my time and figure out the theme of what I want to talk about or discuss, or you just right to the paper?
No, I go right back into it, and I'm just trying to develop these. I find, when I first started out, I started like I was like a big topical guy. I would just try, I was insecure, as some comics are, and I was just like scrounging for I would just like sit down and force myself to write jokes. Now I'm a little bit more patient, where I'm like, oh, this topic might be something. So instead of just writing one joke about the topic, it's like, let me mine it a little bit, and like stay with it and not be so impatient. Wake up every morning, get a cup of coffee, and just keep looking at it and keep throwing jokes at it, keep coming at it. And that way you build like 5 minutes into 7 minutes into 10 minutes, and it might be a bigger chunk, whereas it just was one joke because you quit on the bit.
Sure,
you know what I mean? And it's easier to remember too, instead of like, I used to have to go all over the place for the jokes, like, oh, I remember that one, then I connected to here, and it's like you're connecting stuff and you can't remember the joke. Like these guys who just do one-liners like for an hour, I don't know how they remember everything. It's much easier just to like consciously and intentionally just keep working on a chunk and bring other stuff into it.
I think my favorite thing ever is when you have a bit that's like, it works and it's good and you think it's done, and then all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, and you find that extra 2-3 minutes in there that is brand new, and you're like, it's a whole new joke all of a sudden. Then you have that new joke energy when you're telling an older joke. You're like, oh, God damn, this is great. Because then you didn't have to come up with the premise.
Right.
You just have to tag up a bit that you had. Because you're still writing, and you feel accomplished, you feel funny. It's great, I'll
tell you, the good news for you, too, is it being on YouTube. I think what I've seen, at least, is that if it goes on one of the streamers, right, it's like, good luck. They're barely going to put it on the homepage.
Unless you're Ali Wong.
unless you're Allie, unless you're Nate, right?
Yeah.
It's just been something where I try to track my own analytics through rate reviews and everything else. And it's so easy for these things to get suppressed or forgotten, or it depends when it's released, et cetera, et cetera. Right. When it's on YouTube, you've been such a great presence here in the New York scene that the New York comics, when a New York comic has a special come out, they all fucking get behind it and blow it the fuck out. Right. And you see millions of views. And I think that the benefit is that there's so much more awareness with the comedy fans, especially the New York comedy scene. All those guys are so popular with Mark and Sam and Big J and so are everybody, Bobby Kelly. They'll all get behind it and push it out. And I think you're going to be very surprised at how great it's going to do, man.
I hope you're right.
You deserve
I don't take
it.
anything for granted. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, but yes, I'm going to be asking all.
But the LA comics don't do that at all. They don't give a flying fuck, man. No, they don't give a shit. But the New York scene, man, it's going to be great.
But then how is that if in LA if they don't and you're like, then you have to see them? I think half the thing is like in New York, it's like you're going to see the guy. Like you're gonna see him every week.
Oh man, I'm so sorry about that, dude. Oh fuck.
I must have whiffed on that.
Hey, Rob Schneider's here. What's up, Rob? I mean,
I want to stir up a little drama. I was just in LA for a little bit, and a friend, I'm not going to name names of anything, but a friend that I knew for a long time got a couple times on a really big platform, and now they won't do local shows unless they're paid a certain amount, like $300-400 to go do like a regular ass bar show or like a non-club show. They won't even go to those shows. People will reach out and they're like $400.
Yeah, but you know who
this
will?
is not what this is. Like,
you know who will?
They're not that fun. They're not like so funny that they're like going to blow the place out and bring people.
Yeah.
They just think that because they got on this platform once or twice, that now they deserve something else, and they're losing friends. They're losing all their like people they come up with don't want to deal with
who
anymore.
will do those shows?
It's great.
Chappelle.
Yeah,
he'll do them.
I
wonder if he's too big.
Yeah.
That's
he'll
I'm
just
sorry, that's
pop
who I
into
was talking
shows
about.
and do
Is that not clear?
Dave.
That my good friend Dave Chappelle.
So once again,
it's interesting.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I just want to say one
Please.
thing. It is kind of interesting to see how people handle success. It really is,
yeah,
because
yeah.
we're all like, you know, you came from our scene, you know, the New York scene. So it's like we're all before social media. You just have to go to the clubs and hang out.
Yeah.
And it's like everybody was kind of like, there's a camaraderie there and a friendship there and everything. And it's interesting to see how some people handle it and some people don't handle it. It goes to their head.
Oh,
you know what
sure,
I mean?
yeah.
It's just interesting to see that, I would say.
Yeah, I forget the documentary name, but there was a guy who did Boondock Saints, and it was all about how that film at the time was the screenplay, this wonder kid, and Miramax bid for the film, and they give all these millions of dollars, and Miramax at the time was massive, and it's all about how that film came and went and became this cult film at some point. But this kid was supposed to blow up. He was a bartender. He was a rough talking Boston kind of guy. Yeah. And the quote at the beginning of the film is, "Fame doesn't change you. Fame only accentuates who you always were."
Right.
And that was like one of my first lessons in like, wow, that's pretty interesting. And you know, it's like, I don't know, you know, nature or nurture, you know,
right?
And you wonder about it. And that was my first exposure. And then when I moved to LA, it was one of the first things I saw, and I just saw my friends after that, and I was like, I wonder if they were kind of an asshole before, you know?
They just couldn't be. Because you're not allowed to be.
You're not allowed to be.
They don't realize, you're bumped immediately when no one gives a shit who you are, knows who you are, and you act like a dick. It's like, you can go. But now when they need you a little bit, the other side needs you, then
but
it's
I don't
like,
know if they understand that this is the long game. This stuff comes in waves.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? It's like you could be the toast of the town one day, and the next day on the bottom rung. So it's like, you kind of want to just
you want to be cool,
balance.
And why not be
balance,
cool? One of my favorite quotes is Orson Welles. I mean, the guy wrote and directed one of the greatest films of all time, and his quote is, when it comes to Hollywood, he's like, all roads in LA lead to the airport. And I was like, wow, that's fucking great.
It's a great quote.
And just, you know, that's a guy, Gene Kelly fought for years to try to get back into, these are icons, and I've read biographies on them, and just like, you're right, the marathon of show business is fucking brutal.
Yeah.
March 24th on YouTube. What's the title one more time?
The Attractives.
The Attractives, okay. It's March 24th on YouTube on Nate Bargatze's YouTube page. Very excited for you. Congratulations. Can't wait to see the next one.
Thank you.
And all right, let's get into this. Here we go. Number one, I don't know
It's just
who...
written on the...
Oh, it's...
No, turn around. Open it up.
It's up.
There you go.
You just write it on the auto. Just okay. All right, here we go. Brian Regan. Any initial thoughts on Brian Regan? When you hear the name Brian Regan, what are your thoughts?
I mean, he's just a legend. The guy's a legend of comedy. But I mean, other comics were more into him. I didn't really know about him when I first moved to New York, but yeah, he's unbelievable.
He's so quotable. For me, he's one of my favorite quotable comics.
Every comic that ever worked with him, you would start talking like him. For like 2 or 3 weeks. You'd be like, why am I talking like this? But I've gotten to know him because he lives in Vegas, and I'm working in Vegas quite a bit. The guy's a clean comic. He's super nice, but that dude can fucking drink.
Oh, yeah.
If you think you can drink, you got nothing on Brian Regan. Wow. This guy can pound, and I was shocked the first time. It was like hanging out with Dave Coulier, finding out he likes like Nazi memorabilia. It's like, aren't you the clean comic? This dude is unreal.
Wow. And if I can, the first time I met you years ago, whatever, in Denver, I was like, this guy can drink.
Oh, I love to drink.
So if you're telling me that he's drinking,
dude, I was like, wowie, I got my teeth got. All right, here we go.
My wife and I, we have 2 beautiful kids, so I watch a lot of Dora the Explorer. That's a good show. I'd probably watch that if I didn't have kids. Dora the Explorer. First of all, did the producers think that rhymes? Dora the Explorer. Maybe that rhymes in the Kennedy household. Put on Dora the Explorer.
For me, it's 30% fake.
Other than there's a song in Dora the Explorer that absolutely amazes me. And I wish I had been at the pitch meeting where it was approved. So did you get a chance to work on a song? Oh, yeah. Well, I remember now. Yeah, we're working on one. Don't worry about it. Why don't you go ahead and sing it for us then? Yeah, okay.
Can you pause that a
If
second?
you want that.
That's just a horrible example of bad directing.
Yeah, I was literally
To go
thinking the
wide
exact
and
same
go
thing.
in, and he's saying all this stuff. It's like, punch in, you fucking idiot. All right, sorry, good.
Yeah.
But I like, as long as we're commenting, I like the, he starts the bit with the jab in. You know what I mean? It's like a joke that like it doesn't destroy. You know what I mean? But it's like he's getting into the bit, but instead of like some comics just get into the bit without like the joke. If you're developing it and you listen back, you're like, oh, there's something else, because the goal is to like punch it all the way through, even if you're telling a story. So it's like, I like the jab in where it's like, boom, he hits you with the joke first, and then he's starting the bit that way with the joke, like just boom, just touches you with it,
right?
And then that second Kennedy thing was like a huge pop. You know what I mean? So like, it's good to see like where it's gonna go.
And the second setup, the key line in it is don't worry about it. He's stating, don't worry about it. And it's like, no, why don't you sing it? It's like that line sets up this whole thing. It's such a great line, too. It's so dismissive. All right, here we go.
Now, all right, here we go. I'm the map, 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 I'm the map!
Immediately into the executive.
So stupid. That's great.
I like that twist at the end. It is the map.
That's the bit. Yeah.
I mean, he's somebody I would watch a full hour of.
Yeah.
Over and over again.
Repeatedly. When I first started, we'd listen to CDs.
Right.
And I would listen to a CD over and over, and it was like so quotable. Everybody was quoting the thing, Copernicus and all that. It was great. But he was one of the first guys when I first started where, everybody talked about him. Everybody had his CD. Everybody listened to him, and comics definitely mimicked him. And I'd say like Dane at the time, and even Attell, you could tell the New York comics that just moved to the city that saw Attell. But I love Brian Regan. He can do no wrong in my book. He's so talented and so funny, and I liked his Netflix show when he had a show too. Yeah, he was great. Did a lot of sketches.
But it's a credit to him. Like that's a guy who doesn't need a show. He's just like, I mean, it's great if he had a show or he has a show or when he has a show, but it's like he just goes and sells out. Like the people know.
He doesn't. Yeah. I mean, he
sells out everywhere.
We all want the show, but he doesn't need the show, which is. And his audience doesn't need the show either. Right. Like nobody needs the show. They just the show is going to see Brian. That is
because
the TV
he has
show.
the people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's much better to have the people, even like in this day and age where it's like you can communicate directly with the fans. But before, before 5 years ago or whatever, you had these gatekeepers. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Who had to, put their hands in everything. So
I love to see him act more. You see what Gaffigan's done. Gaffigan does. It seems like he does independent films like other comics do hour specials, where he's constantly in like almost like prestige films, where films that are getting awards at like film festivals. And I remember seeing like Chappaquiddick about Ted Kennedy, and I was like, what the fuck's Gaffigan doing in this? It's crazy.
That's great.
Yeah, he's unbelievable, and I wish Regan would do more. I'm sure he probably wants to. I don't know, but I bet he'd be a phenomenal actor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he takes such a pay cut. I feel like the amount of time he'd have to take to spend off the road.
Don't realize.
Yeah.
It's like you're making so much money on the road that you need to take a pay cut in order to do a movie.
You can do quick math. I have no idea what this guy makes, but he's probably pulling in an insane amount of numbers a night, enough that like a normal person, their head would explode. He probably makes an average salary of a human being's year in a night.
Right.
Let's just say that.
Yeah.
I don't want to call him out on that. But he's making a lot of money, and then to allure him away to a 6-month TV show that he has to come up the road.
Yeah,
I mean, he's taking a massive hit to do that. So I mean, it's like, it's a cool position to be like, do I want to do that? But then he can go do the Tonight Show. He can do all the shows, guest starring, talk show, whatever, and it doesn't really bother him, and he still gets to do it. So.
But I think at that point, it's like, do I want to just? I'm already a master of this.
Right, exactly.
So do I want to try something else?
Yeah, creatively, what do you want to do? All right, that was Brian Regan, number 2.
Oh, this is a creative job?
Ooh,
when did that happen?
Sinbad. He's a guy I never met. I always wish I met Sinbad.
I never met him either, but I was in Reno or something, and he was like I was doing that Catch a Rising Star Club when it was there. I think it's the Laugh
now
Factory.
Hardee's.
It's it's a Laugh Factory now. But he was in the huge room, and people were raving like he just destroys.
Yeah,
he
just completely murders. So I've never really seen him.
I remember as a kid growing up watching like his first 2 specials, and I didn't know what comedy was. I didn't know what was happening, but everything that guy said, I latched onto, and like, I would repeat that stuff over and over and over again. I was like a 10-year-old kid, just like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. And I wanted the outfits, the bad jumpsuit.
Oh my god,
the blue jumpsuit with the orange top. I remember being like, well, how do I get this clothes? Everything.
He
about
must have
this
been
guy.
doing it. He must have been taping on a Sunday. But Sinbad, again, to your point, and much like Regan, that's somebody where a 10-year-old could watch it and a 6-year-old could watch it, and that's why they're so beloved. So let's check out Sinbad here. Oh
now, my mother, I went off on my mother one time, 10 years old. God had to save me. I'm serious. God had to save me. I don't know what happened. I just know I woke up. I was 10 years old. My father had left town. And when you're from the Midwest, from Michigan, you got to cut the grass every Saturday. That's just automatic. Even if you ain't got no lawn, you're going to cut something. Go out there and cut somebody's lawn, but you're going to cut something on Saturday. My father was out of town, and my mother was cool. Now, remember, the father said cut the grass. Well, he ain't here, is he? I don't know why it came out. It was just a manly thing that was down here says, try it, man. You almost taller than her. She can't do nothing to you. If I had known then what I know now, I wouldn't just try to walk out. I would try to just walk out the room. I'd have backed out. I turned my back on my mother. I heard a sound come out of her that I had never heard before. Lord Jesus Christ! Messed me up. I turned around, my mother was growing. She was 6'10", with a suit on with a W for whooping on her chest, and a cape was blowing in the wind behind her, and a golden belt came out the sky. By the power of She-Ra, I'll kick your little yellow butt. Hit me one time, butt fell off. Fell on the floor. I picked my butt up, ran through the screen door, running down the street with my butt in my hand, and thought I was safe.
That's the bit, yeah.
I mean,
so funny.
Yeah.
And I also
go ahead.
No, you.
It's the relatability of the bit.
Oh, for
you
sure.
See the connection with the audience because they're flashing to the audience, and sometimes if I have like a series of bad sets, I feel like I'm not connecting with the audience. I'll put on Bernie Mac, and the Kings of Comedy, where he like closes the shows, because originally he wasn't. I don't think he was closing the shows, but it was one of those things where it's like they had no choice
Sure.
but to put him at the end, because he was just annihilating to the point where no one could come up and those guys are good comics. They just could not come up and follow him, and just like he's telling, like, it's like in story form, he's connecting with I think it's in North Carolina, and just to watch the audiences react to that, it's like, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. So it's the same kind of like related.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
Watching the crowd react.
And I love the voice effect. Like he had somebody affect the microphone, which I thought was amazing.
Yeah.
Like you don't see enough. For me, I love a variety more of a show where there's like interaction and that type of stuff, and multimedia, I guess. I really dig that stuff. So like I'm a huge Carrot Top fan. I will not be abashed by that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just thought that was, I love everything about that. And then being able to just really quickly, no fanfare, change my voice for the mom, and then I'll move on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a casual storyteller. It seems like he's just talking to you, but you forget that he's going to say that 1,000 times, and there's a melody to that story.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
But it sounds like he's like you're just having lunch. It's like he's the guy you want to hang out at lunch break with.
Right.
And what did you tell? What happened
Right.
yesterday, Sinbad? And that's what it seems like.
Yes.
There's a few guys like Billy Gardell's like that. It's so underrated, but Billy's like the blue collar kind of storyteller. You're just going to sit around with. It's so fucking funny, and he's so clean.
Right,
he's so clean, and
you
he's
don't even
destroying.
realize it.
You don't realize it. Yeah.
He's clean. He's just a guy telling a story.
That's why I like Ron White a lot too, just because of his storytelling ability.
And how clean he is.
Well, and he's very clean. His personal life is completely in check. You know, everything about that guy is right on the money. Yeah. But the way he talks is, to me, is funny.
Yeah.
Like no matter what he says, I'm gonna have a good time because I really love the character that he is when he's on stage.
He's so secure in him. He's so like Ron White. Even if something's not going where, he's still gonna get you. Like he's gonna sit in the pocket. He's like, I got it. He's so relaxed and cool.
Sitting in the pocket is that's really a thing that I don't know if people watching are aware of. It's like when it's not going your way, just like staying patient. Not hating the audience. That took a while for me. Like it's like you're doing these shows, they're not accepting it, so that what could happen with the performers, you get bitter, you get angry at them, and then you start shooting the jokes at them. Or you do a penalty kill where it's just you're going to kill your time and be like, they were good. But it's like you have to develop to the point where you're like, no, you got it. First of all, you have to love them. These people got babysitters. They came, they paid for a ticket. It's like, first of all, get your mindset right that you love them and you're going to do the best you can, regardless of how they react. Like, it's an unconditional love kind of a thing. And then just keep trying to like work them and bring them in. Now, the wrong thing to do is
is what I did last night.
The wrong thing to do. Some comics will do this, and I understand it, which is to if they're not liking you, and the opposite of hating them is to completely pander to them.
Right.
And like give yourself over and just be like, do crowd work until your time is up. That's also the wrong thing, I would say.
It's also disrespectful to the rest of the show. It's already a shit crowd, and now the next guy's going to come up and have to dig out of your mess, you know?
Yeah, the right thing to do is to stay in the pocket, and then just with your material, like keep bringing them and keep bringing them and keep bringing them in.
Yeah, last night I did a show at the Stand. Nothing was working. Material, old material, crowd work, nothing. And I was just like, man, you guys fucking suck. And so I brought Oscar back up, and Oscar was emceeing, and I was like, let's riff together and see. And he's like, Steve, this is just, you're not going to win. I go, okay. He's like, it's been like this all night. I go, okay. And I got off stage, and I walked back, and the sound booth, and this girl waiting. And I was like, man, that crowd fucking sucked. Fuck them. And I was upset at myself because I was like, you know, that's not it. It's your job.
Right.
Yeah.
Your job is to save crack, get the combo, and get them to fucking do it.
Right.
And to get them to win. And I was like, I was kind of pissed at myself for like handling it that way in the aftermath, you know? And then a waitress came over to me. She goes, don't worry, they were like that all night. I was like, oh, well then, yeah, fuck them. Absolutely, I was fucking right.
99% of the time, it's our fault. But there's always that one. They're like, no, it was you.
It's definitely them.
Yeah.
I'm not one of those guys who's like, it's never them. No, it's them.
Sometimes, on the rare occasion, but it is ultimately your job to fucking figure it the fuck out. Period.
Even if
no
it
excuses.
is them. Even if it is them, you got to stay in the pocket and keep like pulling them towards you.
To talk
It's
about
hard
you
to
were
do.
talking
It's counterintuitive.
What you were saying earlier about like drawing them in and bringing them in. I was at last weekend. I was at this place in Richmond called The Park. It's a newer club, big, beautiful place. Shout out to them. They take care of comics really well. But the first night, the first show was maybe 20 people in a 200-seat auditorium because I'm crushing it. You know, I just have a huge audience. But when I went up, I said, look, there's not a lot of people here. If you guys are down, like there's a huge space and you're just going to get lost in there. And I just said, I was like fed up with, because it was a shit run that I was on. I was like, if you guys are down to have a good time and like, let's just do this together.
Yeah.
And it was one of the best shows I've had in probably 5 years, like most memorable shows for me because I didn't use the mic. I was just hanging with them and just talking, and they were the best. And then the next night, first show, packed, worst, most miserable crowd alive.
You never know,
Couldn't do anything right with these fucking people. But first show, very small people, and just telling them, let's have fun together. This sucks for you. This sucks for me.
That's right.
Let's have fun right now. And they were super on board.
Because they can feel it if you don't like it.
Of course, yeah. So that's why I wanted to get it out immediately and not like just try to like emote that. Like, but if this doesn't work right away, like we're gonna have the worst night ever. So let's just have a goof and have fun.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah.
Were you gonna say something?
No.
That whole story for me was just a bid to try to get booked back.
Number 3, Rosanne Barr.
My
Rosanne
favorite,
Barr.
personally.
She just had a special come out, and I've heard mixed things about it. I don't know. Have you guys heard anything about it? Or I know Fox Nation has put it out because, you know, they're anybody who's getting canceled, they're going to support. So I've heard mixed things. I haven't seen it yet. I know she's been making the rounds. I was in the clubs 2 weeks ago, and she was at the Cellar. She came and hung out.
Oh, really?
I think she went up, and then there was another show she actually did get up. I think it was at the Stand. And even still, like, comics were still like, holy shit, it's fucking cool to see Roseanne.
She's still a legend.
Huge,
Absolutely.
huge TV show.
Yeah.
And then she got canceled for saying some crazy shit. I was like, wow, that was like, there's like times where you're like, yeah, I could see how that could be misconstrued, but when he said it, I was like, oh yeah, that's bad. That's like really bad, right?
I think, but I think she was like in that space where she was like, on Twitter or something, which is arguing with people online. It's like, get out of that. You got to get out of that.
You're
space.
fighting the
It's
ocean.
Like
You'll never
that's
win.
like a toxic.
And nobody would have
space,
cared
man.
if she didn't have her show back. Like if Roseanne
right.
didn't come back on air, it would have been lost in the ether. But because she was on ABC at 8 o'clock on Thursday nights, they were like, well, we got to get rid
Something
of her
to
now.
lose,
We have to do something. And the show's gone like 4 seasons without her. They just changed the name. Like, well, it's the Connors now. Like people are like, fine, we're fine with that. So weird.
Crazy.
Because she made that show. I still watch reruns of Roseanne anytime it's on. If I'm in a hotel or whatever, and I see Roseanne, it's on and it's still relevant. It's criminally underrated as far as like one of the best sitcoms I think of all time.
Well, her first Tonight Show appearance, I mean, you know, I go down these YouTube holes all the time and watch a ton of Carson and watch a bunch of first appearances and stuff. It's fucking great. It's really, really funny.
She's great.
Yeah.
The Dangerfield made her, right? She was on the Dangerfield.
On
Young
the
Comedians?
Young
Comedians,
Comics.
yeah.
By the way, those are, I mean, you watch Kinnison's first.
Yeah.
It's like, wow.
Yeah.
Even to this day, you're like, wow, holy shit. It's fucking fantastic.
Fantastic.
So good. Dom Irrera's, to this day, holds up.
Oh, yeah.
His Dangerfield. It's so good.
So good.
Let's watch Roseanne Barr here.
So this is from the new
Oh, this is
special.
okay.
They've been living in a bubble forever. Asking questions have nothing to do with the real world. What is my gender, Mom? What is my gender? Your gender is get a job. That's your gender. What are they thinking? Ask what is a woman? They don't know that. I'll tell you what a woman is. A woman is me. That's what a woman is, okay? A woman is someone who cleans up everybody else's. That's what a woman is. A woman is somebody whose boobs hang down to her knees with a prolapsed uterus from giving birth to 5 ungrateful little privileged never had to work for anything in their whole damn life.
It's real personal there.
My pronouns are kiss my.
All right, well.
I think we're chuckling because of we're chuckling the wrong way. Yeah.
So this is what I think, like, this is an example, a prime example, like when you watch Bill Maher, right? Or you watch John Oliver, or it's easy to be a Yankee in Yankee Stadium.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And she's obviously, you know, catering to a
Certain
this was
audience,
filmed in a red state,
Right.
probably in a red town.
Right.
And there's a lot of just earn claps, right?
Right.
The hardest thing to
Right.
do is be a Red Sox in Yankee Stadium, right? So she's home field advantage, and there's there's just thoughts that are going to get applause breaks, not necessarily jokes.
Yeah. There wasn't any laughing. It was like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
There was a
there
lot
were
of
more
that
claps,
in her crowd, which is
Yeah.
extra. Like, it's tough to watch a little bit. I tried to get a couple different clips from that, but like, it's a
the
hard
one line,
watch,
and it
man.
was funny. And I wish there was more of that. I don't know. I'd watch it. I'd watch the first 10 minutes.
Prolapse uterus is funny no matter what you say.
Yeah.
Prolapse.
Yeah, she was. that was a good line.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, that's the Roseanne. I know. I
Right.
wish it was just more, but it's 60 seconds compared to 60 minutes.
Well, and
so
she's coming back to complain. Like, this was not I don't think even in her mind, she was like, this is going to be the ultimate comedy special. She was like, I'm going to get on TV for an hour and just vent my frustrations.
Sure.
Yeah, I
Which
think some
is comedy, but
Yeah,
you know.
I think some comics who've been doing it a super long time, like She's a Legend, are just like, I just want to say what I want to say. It's like the rest, like the rest of us are like, okay, I gotta work this. I gotta take this back and then keep working it, keep working it. Whereas I think when you've been doing comedy like 40 years or She's a Legend, that you just like, you know what, I just want to say what I want to say. And I don't, you know, I mean, Carlin, I think, was like that at the end.
Yeah,
it was
for
like,
sure,
I'm a legend. I'm going to say what I want to say. Whereas the rest of us who are like in the clubs and stuff are like, nah, I need to take that and I need to refine.
You know, who's a perfect hybrid of that is Chappelle.
Yeah.
I think Chappelle is somebody that's like, I'm going to say what I want to say, but at least it is, at least there, even if he's just talking, it's still extremely interesting.
Yes.
And there's like philosophy behind it or whatever, but you know you're along for the ride and it's going to be a great payoff. But I agree with you. And I also wonder, like, when I'm watching this, there's like a little, like, I don't know how long she worked on it, is what I would say, just from just watch. I haven't seen enough, but in just watching, I'm like, did she work like 6 months on this thing? Because it didn't seem like the melody was there with certain, like you see Sinbad, it's flawless because he probably worked on it for like 2 years.
Right. You can
Well, I
tell
think this
that,
special was a response to her cancellation, not a response to her, I have an hour I'm ready to put out there. It was like, I need to get something out.
Yeah, but
to
get it
have-
right.
That's
Right.
right,
My
but
point,
it
you
wasn't.
know?
It doesn't
Not
seem like
that-
it was.
yeah.
But also, like what you were saying, there's at a certain point, there's doors shut and there's doors that are open, and like when you don't have the world at your beckon as a comic, all the doors are open for you.
Right.
Like if you are a big and you've been doing it for a long time, and there's nobody stopping you from like, well, that didn't really work. There's no one telling you that. Then there's no audience that's really going to give you that necessarily. But when you're coming up and you're working and no one really knows who you are, you have to find a way through that door, and that's what makes you really key it and tune into the bit.
Yeah, I think wealth and success sometimes can change into the terms of like, you know, that boxing quote where it's like, it's very hard to get up and train when you're sleeping in silk sheets.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's like that kind of a thing where it's like, if you spend the time of anger, but if you're a multimillionaire, you know, do you really want to be in the clubs every night tweaking this joke, watching your tape back, like listening to it, going, I need to tweak that a little bit. I need to tweak that a little bit. Some guys do, like the Louis C.K.'s, the Attels, like the Chappelles. Those guys are in it. You could give them $10 billion or throw them
They'd
down
still
the
be
stairs.
there,
They'd
yeah.
still like in the clubs. It's just them. But for other people, it's like, you know, it's very hard. I'm a multi-million. Do I want to be in the clubs every night? Do I want to be at the cell, like tweaking the jokes? Like I don't.
Yeah, like Spade is like that. He's so criminally underrated. I mean,
He's so good.
I mean, obviously, I mean, he's very successful, but just a name of somebody that, like, the guy's had 2 syndicated TV shows, multi films. I mean, so successful. He's part of Sandler's crew, SNL, Tommy Boy. It's like, this guy does not need to be at the Comedy Store on a fucking Tuesday, and he does. And when he goes out and does his theater tours, just like any of the other comics we all know and love, it's just like, my God, and he's the nicest guy in the world, the nicest. Yeah. But I'll tell you, but the thing about Roseanne is that I think to your point, like earlier, her response was making the special, but to me, it wasn't enough. Like, I haven't seen any clips where I'm like, oh, fuck, that's fucking, I got to check that out. That clip I've seen a few times in my feed, and I was like, man, it's, you know, okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I'll check it out.
Yeah.
You know,
Because I think if she put a year into like going on the road, a real network would have put it. A real comedy network would have put it up. A Netflix, maybe not Netflix, but Amazon, somebody would have picked it up and like, oh, this is incredible. This is a legend that came back and did a thing. But rather, Fox News probably went, hey, you want to do one? They're like, yeah, I'll put one together.
Sure.
And there it is. You know.
Yeah.
And I don't think it diminishes her. For me, at least, I'm not going to stop watching her show. I'm still not going to respect what she's always done.
but she toured with Dice, didn't she, for a little bit?
I think so. Yeah.
Her and Dice did a thing. Okay, this is the part of the show we all love to hate. One of us is on the hook here. So I'm not sure who the clip is. Let's. Oh fuck. Yes. Oh God. Oh Jesus Christ.
By your reaction, it is on the screen now. There it is.
Yeah, I know. I'm just praying to God. There's bits in this that I still, I'd say a third of them I still stand by. 2/3 I'm like, oh fuck.
Well, it's funny because if I'm working on your clips, I have access to all of your whole library now. So now I can dig through the. I have an unfortunate.
Jesus Christ, this is so painful. Okay.
There we go. That was the bit.
Nailed it.
Asians. Yeah. Asians are always taking pictures. Asians are always taking pictures. Well, yeah. Let me ask you guys something. What do you do when you're on vacation? Well, you take pictures. Asians don't take a lot of pictures. Asians take a lot of vacations. I'll tell you who takes a lot of pictures. White girls on Facebook of themselves.
Dated. Sorry, guys.
Purse your lip. Purse your lip.
Great
So
tag.
stupid.
Oh, Jesus.
That was great. That's a great tag. It took me a while to get it. It took me a while to get it. I was like, that's great.
Asians are shitty drivers. That's a stereotype, right? I agree with that one, but I'll say this. They're not in a lot of car accidents. They're always just slow. They're always in the way. They're just there. Like 8 times out of 10, I'm on a highway. I got to get in the left lane. I got to pass somebody up. I always do this. I got to see what this asshole looks like. Fucking Asian. Jesus Christ. But why? Well, here's why. I'll take you guys, and I'll drop you off in Beijing, Tokyo, Seoul, and I'll put you in a car, and you'll drive around there doing the same thing they do here. You'll be driving around like this. What does that say? Let them honk. We're lost. I can't read any of this shit. It's just pound sign, 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 pound sign.
It's a good
Classic
bit.
Byrne.
That's really a great bit.
Classic Byrne.
And
Am I crazy, or is your voice higher in that, or is that just the sound?
Yeah.
Or is that
I think my voice. I think we all get. It's funny. I was listening to Austin Butler talk about Elvis, and Austin Butler's what, in his mid-20s. And he said he was studying Elvis when Elvis was younger, even when he was singing. He registered a little higher, and as he got older, you're kind of settling in your voice. I was like, wow. And then I would watch older clips of myself. One of the most annoying assets I had when I was a younger comic is I'd always heard fast is funny. So even when I did Sullivan and Son, Christine Ebersol was always like, fast is funny, fast is funny. So you just kind of deliver the line, be quick about it. And I think I took it to a point where it was like annoying, where I was delivering jokes and I was being so quick. And I remember one time somebody said, you do an hour and a half in 60 minutes. Just slow the fuck down. Yeah. And I watched back some of the older clips. I'm like, God damn, I was just like, why don't I just slow down and like let the audience catch up? And so I hear that, but yeah, my voice was a little higher.
Maybe the speed is it's good. Like you're going faster, it goes up a little bit.
And
one thing I always loved about you at the Cellar from watching you in the early days is I love sarcasm. So you would be sarcastic and then you would sit in it. You would sit in the sarcasm. I love that.
Not budge from it. Yeah.
I really love that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, that was a. I think that was my third, and that was the one time I got the Elvis lighting right, because I tried to do the '68 comeback special, and I finally got the lettering right. And people always say, why did you put your name in the fucking things? It's like, well, back in the day, you know, people would see it on TV and that was it. So it's like you want to have them Google your name, and people always fuck up my name. That's why I always spelled it, because it's like Burn. I'm like, oh fuck, here we go. Is it Bryn? I'm like, oh Jesus Christ, here we go. But yeah, sorry you guys had to sit through that.
No, I love it. I love it.
that was a decent bit. I watched it. I'm like, you know, even like during one of the setups, I'm like, that's just a sympathy clap. It's like there's not necessarily a joke there, but then the joke kind of paid it off. So.
Yeah, no, you took a stereotype and then you turned it around. It's great because everybody knows a stereotype. So everybody knows a stereotype. You say it, and then it's like you turned it. It's I love that. I love the way that I love your patience in sitting in the bit. Also,
Sitting in the
another
bit.
thing you do. Yeah,
Hoping to God it's going to pay off.
But no, it's like that's the thing. It's like the extreme confidence of sitting in the bit, which is harder than people think. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Just know you're going to get rewarded.
Yes.
Hang tight.
Yeah.
Hang in there.
Purse your lips. And purse your lips. It's a great.
Purse your lips. Yes, so stupid. But anyways, so the Attractives, the 24th.
March 24th.
March 24th, the Attractives coming out on Nate Bargatze's YouTube page. And where can everybody follow you as well?
At Comic Mike V on all social media platforms.
At comic.
Mike V.
Mike V. Okay, sorry.
And all that'll be, if you're listening and watching, it'll all be linked in the description and
great.
stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. I'm so happy for you. Congratulations on the hour special.
Guys, I appreciate it.
And are you going to be touring a lot? You're always in the city, so if you're in New York City, you got to check them out.
Yeah, I don't know when this comes out, but the rest of the month I'm in Comedy on State.
Oh, great club.
Madison, Wisconsin, coming up, and then at the end of the month, and also Tampa Side Splitters.
Another great club.
So at the end of March, the last 2 weekends of March, I'll be in Madison, Wisconsin, and Tampa.
Those are both ringers. Look, I highly suggest you check out this special. Mike's been a staple in the New York comedy scene. There is a reason that every comic went to his taping. It takes a lot for a comic to leave their own show because they're fucking inherently lazy. But I saw the pictures and everybody was at your taping, and I was like, that's a sign of like not only a great comic but somebody who's revered in the scene. And I know this special's gonna do great. So congratulations,
Thank you, buddy.
man.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
Appreciate
honestly.
Yeah.
Mike, where can everybody find you?
Oh, at bigmanmike, and you can follow the show at comedypinata. On Instagram, there's a link tree. You can get all the links. If you're listening, you should watch. If you're watching, you should listen. Leave a review, rating, subscribe, something like that, because it's free and it helps us just continue to grow the show. Now that we're in the big, now that we're in the big city,
You're paying for these big lights, baby.
yeah. You think his
can
TV
I
was
also-
free for Christ's sake?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I have a
Anything.
podcast called Mike Vecchione Investigates. It's a fake investigation show where I talk down to the audience. So if you enjoy that, if you enjoy fake investigations and also being talked down to, please find me on iTunes. Mike Vecchione Investigates.
Do you do videos of it? Because you have detective face. So I think that
I really try to get to the bottom of stuff, and I have to tell the guests on what it is before they come on, because I'm like fake. Because I brought my girl on one time, who's Katie Hannigan. She's a stand-up comedian also, and like 5 minutes in, she's like, "What? Why are you talking to me this way? What are you doing?" I'm like, "It's a fake investigation." I'm getting to the bottom.
your
of the
girlfriend
nonsense.
doesn't listen to your podcast. You had no idea
It's
the
obvious.
premise.
She has no idea what it is.
That's awesome. Okay, so everything I have is at steveburnlive.com. Guys, we got to thank our sponsor. Did you know car repossession is on the rise? Do you know you also have every right to stop a repo guy from taking car? Consumers have broad rights to stop a car repossession from happening. That is where the law firm Sue the Collector can help you. If your car is about to be repossessed or your car was repossessed, you verbally told them to stop, leave your car alone, you were physically hurt or injured by the repo agent, or they took the wrong car altogether, you may have a case. The attorneys at Sue the Collector specialize in wrongful car repossession and can help you or your loved one. If you or your loved one were injured, lost valuables, or wrongfully had your car repossessed, call us now. 1-877-BAD-REPO. 1-877-BAD-REPO. Again, that is 1-877-BAD-REPO. Thank you, Jared. It's Sue the Collector. Thank you, Mike. Check out his podcast, Mike Vecchione Investigates. And again, the special, check it out. The 24th, March 24th, The Attractives on Nate Bargatze's YouTube page. It's going to be awesome. Time well spent. We all love you. Congratulations once again. Big Man Mike, Comedy Pinata. Another episode. Goodbye. Thank
Good
you,
job,
guys.
Mike. Thanks, man. Thanks for coming.